Good morning, Master Gardeners. I'm out in the field. You know, as Master Gardeners, you're assigned with the job of being a first detector. And this ornery 8-foot weed is one that you need to learn to know. Not that we have that many, but you need to learn it. So come on, let's take a look together. This is the giant hogweed, which is so named, its genus is something like herculean, which is named for Hercules because it's such a giant plant and large, robust leaves. So very large. Can you see how tall this guy is? It's taller than what I can reach, so it's at least 6 or 7 feet tall. But this is giant hogweed, thus named because of its giant foliage. So let's take a look at the foliage and see what that looks like up close. Here's the leaf over here, sometimes 2 foot wide. I've got gloves on because not only is this a noxious weed, it is a total public health threat. And the reason is I have safety glasses on also, because if you get the sap on you, it can cause temporary blindness, and it has a phytotoxicity dermatitis reaction. So here's one leaf. It is a compound leaf. So there's the tip leaflet, and then there's 2 side leaflets here. So I really can hardly get the whole thing in the picture. If I turn back over to the other one, you can see my shovel and see the large size of the leaves on this guy. So when I first saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to dig that up and take it home. And I tried to dig it, and I couldn't get to the bottom of the perennial root because it has a root very similar to a pokeweed. And I tried to dig it, and I couldn't get it. I had found it in the neighboring area. I happened to live near a wholesale nursery, which is probably where it was introduced. So my first attempt at digging it, I didn't have any dermatitis from it, fortunately. But this is not a plant you want to touch. So I want to help you learn to identify it. It is classified as a noxious weed, and that means that you can report this plant to the Maryland Department of Agriculture, the weed protection area, and they can come and give some control in the early stages. But from then on, it's up to the homeowner or the landowner's responsibility to give control of this hogweed, giant hogweed as it's named. So I have been a faithful citizen reporting this, and sometimes I come out and collect seeds, which is what I'm going to do today. Let me show you how to identify it first. So these are the stems. They do have little nodules on it somewhat, but notice the red color. I wish I could take my gloves off, but I don't want to take them off, and I can't enlarge this without them. So, but you'll see the reddish color on it, the red blotches. Look up here, you can really see some of those red blotches. That's an indicator, the little blotching marks. Now keep in mind there's some lookalikes that are just like this, cow parsnip, and it has blotches on it also. But that particular lookalike has very white, hairy, prolific hair all over it. And the leaf on this is so much larger because this leaf is 3 foot, well, 2.5 feet wide on this one. Let me walk around and you can get a view of this other one from the south side. Look at the size of that leaf. Can you see my shovel handle in the background there? That's my little shovel handle. It's just a little 5-foot spade. And look at the height of the blossoms. It's actually stunning in flower. In our neighborhood, the neighbors, when they see it along the stream sides, they'll call me and I'll go out, and I just tend to cut them off. I take a shovel and drive it in. It's listed as a perennial, but it has a lot of biennial characteristics. You'll know it by its large white flower. Sometimes that flower is 3 feet wide. So you're not going to get this confused with Queen Anne's lace, but it looks like Queen Anne's lace on steroids, big time steroids. But it has a lovely white flower on it, and it's a prolific seed dropper, which is what's going on down underneath it here. Now this younger plant over here that I was looking at with you a second ago, showing you the blotches on it, it's obviously a seedling that didn't flower this year. And then off to the left, among all this brush, you can see some of the other leaves. And that's why it was imported into the United States. 1917 it came here. It was actually much earlier than that, an introduction to Great Britain. But it came here as an ornamental, and it's escaped. And it likes to grow along stream sides. And that's what's going on here. There's actually a waterway down in here, and it flows down into the Little Gunpowder River, which is the region where I live, and that's where there's been action taken to give control of them. And so a major invasive, and it's not so much that it's invasive and is taking away territory and habitat from our natives. But the other big problem with it is this phytotoxicity, that if anybody gets into it, you can get these really major burns. So you want to look at something fascinating on the internet, Google search phytotoxicity of giant hogweed, and you'll see some bad blistering and burning going on. It doesn't happen immediately. It's unlike poison ivy. Like if you just happen to brush by it, of course I have gloves on, but if you brush by, you won't find that you'll get it. It's not like poison ivy. You really have to cut the stem, and it has hollow stems. I haven't cut one for you. Hollow stems, and the hollow stems ooze a sap, a clear sappy liquid, and that gets on your skin and it causes that dermatitis that causes the blistering, and you don't get it for almost 24 hours afterwards. But anyway, a nasty weed that you need to be aware of. It's listed as noxious in a lot of states in the United States. I'm trying not to trip and fall into it. And it flowers a lot like a Queen Anne's lace. And let me break off some of these, if I can reach them. Let me reach up here. Come here, little. Oh gosh, they're dropping already. What I brought, oh crap. Sorry about the language. I brought garbage bags with me, and this is what I did last year. I brought a master gardener out with me, and we came out and we brought garbage bags, and that's what we do, is put the top in garbage bags. So I don't know if you can see those little seed heads. They say those seeds can last up to 7 to 10 years in the ground. So when I come here every year, I try to get the seed heads off, and then I take my shovel and jam the root system in attempt to weakening the root. It may be the same plant that comes back every year, but I saw really good results this year from when we came in last year. So I'm pretty happy with just cutting back those roots and taking that seed head off. So there you are. There's your giant hogweed, 10 foot tall, finished its white flowering, but full of seed heads that I'm going to remove today. So you guys get out and you be first detectors and watch for this and report it to the Maryland Department of Agriculture, the Weed Protection Agency, and they will take your concerns. Thanks.